Well, hello and welcome everyone to Single Living with Hope. Today I have some special guests, some very good friends of mine, and they are going to introduce themselves, starting with...
Hi, my name is Fernando Montoya, and I'm Debbie's friend.
Hey, my name is Matt Reed. I'm one of Debbie's friends.
And I'm Steven, and I'm everybody's friend.
Hey, good answer, good answer. So today we are going to do a segment on exploring the singleness from a man's perspective. Just challenges that they happen to, I don't know why I'm yelling, but some challenges that they encounter throughout life, and maybe it's something that you might be going through yourself that can be very helpful to you. So I'm going to start asking them some questions, and they are going to respond with things that they are currently encountering or things that they've experienced in their past. So this is for all the guys. What led you to become a Christian? We'll start with Steven.
Well, for me, it was really my parents. My parents showed a really good example of knowing Christ, and really did a good job of being an example and providing an environment where I could come to know Christ for myself. So that was a big thing. So
since you were young, you were brought up in the church.
Yeah.
Oh, good, awesome. Okay, Matt.
So for me, same thing. I was pretty much born and raised in the church. So just growing up and kind of got saved around when I was probably in high school. And yeah, just kind of my parents constantly bringing me to church was kind of my background.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very similar. I wouldn't say born and raised, but I think I was 7 years old when my mom converted from Catholicism to Christianity. So, and she's a very strong Christian. But I kind of had one of those stories where I would say I had multiple come back to Jesus moments. Mm-hmm. So when I was young, I was on fire for God, and then kind of trailed off in high school. Then went to Bible school. I don't know why I did that, right? But I did. Just God's calling. And so recommitted my life then. And I would say, then got married, and then just life. And my third coming back to Jesus moment was oddly when I got divorced. And, I had that moment where I could turn to the world or I could turn towards God. And I chose to turn towards God and was in church. I never stopped going to church, but I was like, I'm going to church. I'm going to be involved, and that's been awesome through that. I met Matt, I met you, I met Steven. All because, that third come to Jesus moment. So that's...
And we actually all connected as friends through his ministry. He had a co-ed group. And so that's how we actually ended up all meeting. So it was awesome. So, cool. All right. Very good, guys. So what are some things that you are truly struggling with today? Let's start with Steven.
Struggling today.
If any. I mean, you may not.
Sure.
I'm glad you go first.
Yeah. So... I guess the biggest struggles today are struggling with just general business. Been in business for a while. That's been a big struggle, especially in this season. Struggling with, I have a son who's 8 years old, so raising him, the co-parenting thing is better. But still, raising him is still a challenge. It presents its new challenges every day. So those are kind of some of the things. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Matt?
Yeah, I would say definitely some of my struggles would be, just my daughter, she's older, so she's pretty self-sufficient. And my son's he's starting to learn certain things, but just trying to manage him a lot of times is just kind of bouncing all over the place. He does have, one of his things is he goes through some special classes at school and stuff like that. So there's that part. And then one of my newest things I've been kind of doing, well, off and on, but kind of been more focused or looking into is just trying to figure out the whole dating scene. That's always kind of interesting for sure. So those are definitely my top struggles right now.
Okay.
Similar, my struggles are raising my kids as a, quote unquote single dad. I think we talked about it before where some folks don't view dads that have 50-50 custody as single dads. Mm-hmm. So whatever you call us, that's what we are, right? It's tough when I have them for a week by myself. And then along with that is the co-parenting. And I look forward to the day that I get to where I have a good co-parenting relationship. And I'm not here to say anything bad about anybody else. It's just, we have our difficulties. So learning and growing through that and trying to be honoring to God trying to be respectful of the other person, and yet having emotions and anger and frustrations, so it's tough. It's tough. But yeah, that's my biggest struggle. And I would say probably these guys would echo, financial, having to, say those words, child support, so it's tough. And I think you mentioned it last time. I have 6 kids, so, child support is
Yeah, that's definitely difficult. I agree.
But God always provides.
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah,
So how does your faith influence your daily choices? This question is for Fern and Matt. Let's start with Matt.
I would say there are some things where I might just like make a decision to do something, and then there's sometimes where like depending on the choice, I might spend some time praying about it and just seeing if there's anything in particular like that the Holy Spirit might open up or show me as far as that path. So it can kind of vary. It depends on like sometimes I gauge in like, hey, this seems like it might be more difficult. So I maybe spend some time praying about it, whereas this might seem kind of more easier choice to kind of go through. So,
Okay.
Yeah, for me, very similar. I always, when I have a difficult decision, I would say, kind of like Matt was talking about, I don't make a decision right away. Something that's a difficult decision would be like with, my daughter. I have 2 older daughters that don't choose to come with me every week. So there's things that happened and have in the past and still happen. So when I have those decisions to make on what to do, it's like I'm doing all the above. I'm praying, I'm worshiping at church. I'm just asking God to speak to me. And one thing I'll add on is mentors. I think singles out there, you guys watching should really pursue having a mentor. Yeah. It's made all the difference in the world. A lot of us know one of my mentors that I would say is David and Joy Bradley. Shout out David and Joy.
David and Joy.
I have had at least I would say 4 or 5 big things that have happened, and I've called them, and they have either called me back and we've talked on the phone, or even gone and sat down and had dinner, or go to their house and just talk about it. And so that's I would say all that is faith, because it's like seeking God, seeking wise counsel. It talks about in the Bible too, right? So yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, so this is a big one, guys. Ladies, pay attention. Okay, so what steps are you taking to maintain purity in a culture that promotes sexual immorality? We'll start with Stephen.
Yeah. So for me, I guess the biggest thing for me is what I allow myself to focus on. I'm pretty on purpose of like, for sure, like what I watch, what I don't watch, who I listen to, and then at the same time, I mean, I'm a man, and like I have all the things that everybody else has. At the same time, for me, like in those moments, like you guys talked about praying, those are moments to like just talk to God. Like He's like open to be talked about with just about anything, or anything really. And so God tells us like there's no temptation that comes that He doesn't make a way of escape for. So those are moments to just go talk to God and say, hey, where's the escape plan on this one? But yeah.
Okay, I'll let you, Matt.
Definitely the first part is this, as far as like certain media, making sure I don't watch certain type of content is the first part of it. And then even like in the dating perspective, like one of my favorite phrases is kind of like knowing yourself, like knowing that maybe, for example, having a person come over and stay at night might not be the best way to like go down that path, or having like certain boundaries to be like, hey, at this time, if we're going to hang out one-on-one, this person needs to like go home, like whatever time that is for each person. So like I said, just knowing yourself, like where things that could get you into trouble, and then putting like certain boundaries in place. And then the other thing is like having people that can be accountable too.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same things I would say. What I would add on is be honest with yourself. You know, I would. I was kind of looking forward to this, or not looking forward to this question. I guess both, kind of, because it's a tough topic,
It
and
is.
I remember, and I kind of still have the opinion that there's some people out there like, oh, you can get to a point where you never struggle with sexual immorality or even thoughts, or not, and I'm like, maybe I'm not there yet. Oh, I'm not there yet, but I'm not into the point where I can be like, no, I think everybody struggles with it.
Yeah.
You just get to a point where you learn to employ the tools quicker. But I mean, I have friends, and I have myself had, protection on my phone, software that I don't have a password to. Other people have a password to that. So there's that. And then I like what Matt said. I'll echo that. Boundaries. And I'm glad you said that, because I don't allow myself to be alone in my house or with another female. If I can handle it, if I can not handle it, if I can maybe make that boundary right. But also, like the females that are in my life, I have observed them to be strong women of God, and I trust them to be around me, in a more intimate setting. Meaning, if you have someone that perhaps doesn't seek God's ways, maybe is more open to some things that you might lead down a certain path. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Maybe don't have that female or that male, if you're the female, but if this person's a player, right, or whatever, so just don't surround yourself with people like that. Surround yourself with people like you, like our friend Shanika and all the ladies that are in the group that you fear God, and we know that you guys are not going to be like, oh, since we're alone now, so yeah, boundaries, that's pretty much right.
Boundaries is
Yeah.
a key. Boundaries. Yes. Okay.
Be smart.
Yes. So how do you guard your heart and mind against pornography and lust? It kind of coincides with the question that we
Yeah.
just asked, but
Yeah.
a lot of men struggle with this. They struggle with this topic because just because you guys are Christian men doesn't mean that you don't have those same
Oh, yeah.
desires and those same things. It's kind of like, how do you cope with it? Like, they really want to know, like, dude, like, how do you, overcome these issues or these desires? Like, what are things that you guys do?
I think one thing I've learned is if you struggle with it, you have that person that can help you be accountable, and then you can also be honest with them and be like, hey, Stephen, I messed up yesterday. And he's not there to be like, hey, I'm going to beat you over the head. It's just to kind of like, all right, let's step back and reassess and look at, kind of, because part of you might need to look like, well, how did we get here in this moment type thing.
Put each other in line too,
Yeah.
because that's where you
Yeah.
guys have each other.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of the biggest things I've seen before in the past, is just having those people who you can be honest about, saying, yeah, I did this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think that's important. I think shame is kind of what keeps people in that place. Like when people get in that place and get stuck,
Yeah, that's a good one.
shame is kind of the thing that keeps them there, because shame itself leads to hiding. And so, like, if you're hiding, that means you can't get help. You can't let people in to see what's going on. And when that's the case, it prevents you from being able to receive that, like, you're a person too. Like, there's value in you despite the fact that you messed up just like everybody else does. Being able to have a place where you can go and talk about things on a very real level, and know that, hey, when I come from this conversation, I'm not going to be hit over the head with a sledgehammer, but at the same time, like, they're not going to be like milk toast with me either. They're going to tell me the truth, and at the same time, it'll be in love.
Yeah. I think, like Pastor Daniel from Gateway Church talked about, a place you can be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and men need to have that with other men.
Yeah.
The only thing I would add on that is scripture. To have scripture memorized,
Yeah.
because when those thoughts come, the fiery darts, and you have to quote God's word, and on top of that, find something that will keep you busy. Something that's fun, something that's maybe working with your hands, doing woodwork, or working on a computer, or playing a game or something. You have to, like with kids, right? You just divert them, right?
Yeah.
Because that's all it is, and you're right. It's something that God put in us as men, to go and fill the earth, right? And unfortunately, that it's a very, very strong desire. And I think I know that a lot of women, you're saying they have that question. And just so they know, like, men are visual. That's why pornography is such a wicked thing.
It's so good, yeah.
Right? And I think men and women struggle to understand each other on what how do you lust, right? And we actually had, I think, a talk in our group one time, and so like women is like a fantasy thing, right? Like you build these fantasies in your mind, and that's kind of how women lust. I mean, I'm just kind of going off of what I've heard other women say. So we could maybe another podcast, right? Yeah. But for sure, if women are wondering about how, why is this such a big thing? It's because we're visual, like something we see, it sparks it, right? It can even just be something silly, so that's why
Gets your mind going.
yeah. And it's who are we to say, but there is, the topic of, modesty out there for women, and trust me, it helps, because if a woman is not dressed modestly, we're just like, looking away, right? So
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you learning about yourself during this season of singleness, Stephen?
This season in general and as a whole, contentment. So contentment in just about every area. As far as specifically being single, part of what that's looked like is coming to a place of realizing, like, I have expectations, I have things that I want, and at the same time coming to a place of being okay with knowing and receiving that things don't have to go the way that I project them to go. Like, God has good plans for us. He wants good things for us. He takes care of us. He provides for all the things we need, even more so than what we need. And at the same time, it doesn't mean that, like, just because I have this desire or this view, that it gets fulfilled in the way that I want it to be. So that's been a big thing for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the contentment part. The other part is just like, I don't know, kind of going back on there, and especially after being married and going through divorces, like rediscovering yourself and figure out things that you like to do. So I've been willing to try out different stuff, whether it's been like two-step dancing, whatever, just having fun, meeting friends and stuff like that. And then my other thing too that I've spent a lot of time on is just like learning how to do stuff differently or better, kind of going forward, especially with the idea of like wanting to be in a relationship again, just kind of like learning and stuff. Because when I look back, I was like, well, I didn't really know what I thought I knew. So yeah.
Okay, this question is for Fern. What are current boundaries you have set in place with your ex?
good question. So I do have, I would say, not the best co-parenting relationship, and there's reasons for that, that both sides would say their own reasons. But you're right. So boundaries that I have in place, I at this point in time, I don't like to talk on the phone in person. So I limit my communication to either text or agreed upon times, like at public places or basically not anything where like I'm caught off guard or she's caught off guard. So I try to make sure and be respectful, and along with that, anything that I have that I would like to talk about, I try to send a pretext, and say, hey, this is what I want to talk about, and then try to talk about it. And so I try to be. I tell people, when you have a co-parenting relationship that maybe is not as copacetic as you would like, treat it like a business transaction, like a business meeting, right? Have your itinerary, have the things you want to talk about, and that way, you try to stick to that and not go off the rails. But the biggest thing, I would say, for me, a boundary that I have is don't let my emotions get in the way or flare up. If you're angry,
I've been there.
and to put some content out there. What's his name? Jefferson Fisher. He's a really good, if you guys heard of him, he's like a trial lawyer that's Christian, and he talks about having conversations like this, tough conversations. And so that's what I do. I employ his tips, and I breathe, okay. And then I try to keep my voice calm, and just say the things that are on my page, and try not to let myself get, upset. Yeah. So, yeah. And I know a lot of people have that type of relationship with their ex, right? Because you're divorced, so people are upset, and so I would just say, try the best you can not to let your emotions get in the way. Just treat the other person with respect. No matter how they treat you, you always treat with respect, and eventually, over time, that relationship will start to, go towards a copacetic, co-parenting relationship. So.
Okay, well, that's all we have time for today. We will have a part 2 because there is some deep questions here. So we will definitely be doing another segment of this episode. So stay tuned. And until next time, we will see you guys. Oh, really quickly, just do any of you guys have anything to say to the viewer on giving any advice that may be going through a difficult time right now?
Yeah, I'd just say at this point, first off, you're not alone. We've shared different seasons that we've gone through of struggles, and for sure find people you can connect with, people who are safe, that really kind of helps bring you through the hard times.
He's like, ditto.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and yeah, I would say ditto, but I like to echo what he says. You are not alone, but please don't be alone. Yeah. Don't make yourself, isolate yourself. Yeah. What does it say in the word about, the sheep that strays away? It's easier for the enemy to get you. So find a church, find a group, even just anything that's maybe not at church. Maybe it's pickleball, maybe it's sewing or whatever, cooking class, but something that you go to consistently, that you're around other people. Because you can't imagine being around another person, just being around other people, how therapeutic that is, how healing it is. So that's what I would say is, if you're going through a hard time, I've been there. I know we've all been there. When I got divorced, it was right during COVID. I was alone for 2 years, and I'm a loner, but it got to where I was like, okay, I think I want to be around people now. So, but just be encouraged, and find God, find other people, find a safe place, and talk things through. Yeah.
So remember, go ahead.
I definitely know that you're not alone, and definitely to probably more like the introverted personalities, and sometimes you do have to push yourself out there. And then part of it that I've learned is sometimes it can be hard finding the communities. You might have to kind of look around in different ways. Like Fern was saying, look for something that you're interested in, maybe find some people there, and know that it might take 4 or 5 times before you find the right people. So that's also something I would like to throw out there, because sometimes it might not happen just like that. And some people, if it doesn't happen for the first time, they're like, well, I'm not going to try this anymore. So
yeah, just motivate yourself, get out there and get in a group, get involved with something, because a lot of times, like you said, introvert, extrovert, or whatever, you stay back and you withhold yourself from moving forward because of fear or rejection or what people are going to opinionate of you. But just make that step, and especially if it's a biblical standpoint, it's really going to benefit you. So until next time, stay tuned for part 2, and we'll talk to you and see you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.